I make you the host temporarily.
Make Matt the host, please. He's got the presentation. I'm gonna do the first half and he's gonna finish up. He's had a little more, so.
All right, Kathleen, whenever you're ready, it's 4 minutes after 9 and we're good to go.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. The Mid-Jersey Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, Safety and Executive Committee meeting of March 5th, 2025. We'll start with the open public meetings statement. Adequate notice of the general fund and executive committee meeting of the Mid-Jersey Municipal Joint Insurance Fund being held on, well, it says November 6th. We'll say March 5th, 2025 has been provided through the posting of the annual meeting schedule of said fund and by mailing notice to the Trenton Times, Asbury Park Press in accordance with Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Can I get a flag salute? Flag. Pledge allegiance
To
To the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it
which
stands,
stands
one
nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, roll call. Joy Tazi,
Here.
Michael Pitts,
Here.
Michael Drulis,
Here.
Anthony Cancro,
Here.
Bernard Hazovic,
Here.
Marlena Schmidt,
Here.
Catherine Fenton Newman,
he's not here today.
Deborah Rubin, David Brown.
He's coming into the call now.
Okay. Frank Bellino, Christopher York,
Allison Cinco Grana for Fairhaven.
Harry Delgado,
Here.
GP Caminiti, Jewel Morgan,
Here.
Joe Zanga. Okay, Alternative Fund Commissioners, Ricardo Lanos, Denise Marabello, Allison, I think you already said you're here,
Yes.
Matthew Crane, Susan Newman,
Here.
Tammy Novak,
Here.
Brandon Goldberg, Tracy Berkowitz,
Here.
Neil Blitz, I think I saw Neil,
Here.
Jeffrey Grosser, John Motter. Okay, safety delegates, Lou Bader, I don't believe Lou's joining us this morning, Bruno Bertucci, Chief Jason Hart, Paul Reed, Wilfredo Amengal, Thomas Rue, Morris Fabian,
Here.
Afrulo Ippolito, Janice de Natal, Lieutenant Ryan Maddock, Katie Williams, Michael DeTeresa, Teresa Carson. Okay, Barbara, we're good with that. We have a quorum, obviously.
Correct.
Okay,
Brandon's dialing in right now.
okay, introduction of guests. I don't think there's any other than those present for the safety kickoff. So I'll turn it over to J.A. Montgomery. Matt, I think you're going to lead us in the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Kathleen.
You bet, sir.
Good, Matt?
Is that good, Brian?
Yep, looks good on my end.
Okay.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. It's our safety kickoff that we do every March. I'd like to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to attend. We got a few topics we're going to cover. First, want to start off, next slide, please, Matt, with just thanking all the members for appointing us again as your safety director. We also want to welcome the new members, Carteret, City of New Brunswick, City of New Brunswick Parking Authority, and South River. I know we've been out to a couple of the new members already, and I know we have some new faces in the towns. So next slide is just a introduction to who J.M. Montgomery is as your service team and some of the services that we provide. So I'm the safety director for the JIF, and then we have Matt, Jenna, and Ellie Moss as senior risk control consultants. I come out and do the on-site visits, and then we have Elena, who does the administrative assistant and sends the reports out to the members after we come out, and she can assist with any questions on training and MSI, and helps run the MSI helpline and the new MSI email. Next slide. So our scope of service for the JIF is to be your consultants. We're here as a resource for you guys for safety. If you have any questions or issues that may come up, or PIOSH comes out, you need help abating some citations that you may have received, that's what we're available for. So you can reach out to us at any time. Email, cell phone are the best ways to get a hold of us. We also come on site for visits. As Matt will talk about, we like to attend at least one of your safety committee meetings a year. Or again, we can come out if there's a need, or if we come out, we can look at your playgrounds. We can look at your buildings. Again, just a resource for you guys. If we don't hear from you, you'll hear from us. But again, if you need us, please do not hesitate to reach out. Next slide. So, part of what we do is giving the towns the resources to establish a safety culture that's going to help protect the workers, reduce injuries for the fund. So, first part of establishing the safety culture is getting upper management support, which I know from working with this JIF for a number of years is definitely in place. Other stuff, and as you'll see, the components that we have listed here are really going to mirror the components of the safety incentive program that we'll cover a little bit later, is having your regulatory written programs, inspecting your facilities, not just when we come, but on a monthly or weekly basis, depending on how much use they may get, providing your employees with safety training, conducting job safety observations, doing accident investigations at your safety meetings, whether if you meet quarterly or monthly, and then having those safety committee meetings where you can, with all the departments, come together, as I said, either quarterly or monthly, review what you've done in the past month or quarter, and plan for the upcoming quarters or months to have a solid foundation for your safety program throughout the year. For all these resources, there's tons of available stuff on the MSI website, and we'd be happy if you want to reach out to any one of us. If you're not familiar with the site, we will happily walk you through. Next slide, Matt. So for the safety training for this JIF in 2024, MSI Live, which is our instructor-led classes, either by Zoom or in person, we had 387 employees trained. The MSI Now is our streaming videos and online courses. We have over 300 available in both English and Spanish, and we had 1,064 employees trained for a total of 1,451 in 2024. A little dip from last year, but still on an average, we're pretty consistent with about 1,500, but we'd like to see that number grow. Next slide, Matt. So how do we get that number to grow? Taking advantage of the available resources. For the instructor-led Zoom classes, we do over 60 a month. We have over 94 titles. And then, as we'll talk about on the next slide, we do some in-person training throughout the state. And then I already mentioned the streaming videos, which are available in the learning management system. Again, a bunch of titles, over 300, both in Spanish and English. And then as you see on the bottom, the little toolkit, it's a lot of stuff that I mentioned on how to, when we were talking about establishing a safety culture for your town. We have model policies that you can use. We have safety videos that you can view outside of the LMS. Ton of bulletins that go out every month on best practices for numerous topics. We have specific pages for law enforcement, for fire and EMS. And then we also, on top of safety, we offer a number of leadership courses, and and MSI and the MEL also have a leadership academy that, is great for new or senior supervisors. Matt, next slide. So the expo I mentioned, these are the classes that don't really transition well to Zoom. So we host, I think we got 8 or 9 this year throughout the state. You can see the schedule below. Some of the southern ones are tentative. We're still looking to confirm those locations because we weren't, because it was a little earlier in the year. But at the expo, we do excavation, trenching, and shoring. We do flagger and work zone safety. That's a 4-hour course. We do also offer those courses individually, a flagger course and a work zone course on Zoom. We have our fast track to safety, HAZCOM, bloodborne pathogens, driver safety awareness, and fire safety. And then practical leadership, 21 irrefutable laws. Again, great class for leaders in your agency. Next slide. So for this GIF, we have 4 executive safety committee meetings throughout the year. This is number 1. I'd like you guys to mark your calendars for the other 3. May 7th and October 8th are standalone safety meetings. And then December 10th is a combination meeting with the executive board, like we are doing here today. Those topics for those meetings, we discuss with the executive director, or we get feedback from the members, what they would like those topics to be. So if anybody has any suggestions, please reach out to us. If we don't have it in our catalog, we can develop it if we have enough time. So, please, any thoughts on potential topics that you think might benefit yourself and the other members, we'd be happy to hear from you. Next slide. So before I hand off to Matt, sure we've seen in the news in the last few months, there's been a number of crossing guard fatalities and serious injuries. Because of that, PIOSH is now in 2025 said they're making an effort to visit all police departments to review what can be done to protect crossing guards when doing their job. We put together a little video. It's about 6.5 minutes. I'm going over all the resources available through MSI, but a majority of the training and stuff is done through Rutgers and through the law enforcement. Most towns have a designated officer within their department who oversees all the crossing guards. So we really wanted just to pull everything together and have a video showing where everything is, because there is a lot of stuff on that website. So we'll play the video and then Matt will take over to talk about worker comp trends and conclude with proper reporting for PIOSH 300 and 300A.
The position of school crossing guard has become one of the most dangerous occupations in local government. It is also one of the most difficult positions to fill due to the hours and working conditions. Numerous crossing guards are seriously injured or killed at their posts each year while protecting our children. Unfortunately, in 2024, several adult crossing guards were killed in New Jersey while performing their duties, and several others were struck by vehicles and seriously injured. In New Jersey, crossing guards report to the chief of police or other chief law enforcement officer of the municipality where they have been appointed to work. The chief is responsible for ensuring that the applicants meet all the standards they can perform their duties before being appointed. Crossing guards need clear procedures for reporting incidents, hazards, or maintenance issues at their posts. Most departments have crossing guards report directly to their supervising officer and may report to multiple officers due to rotating police officer schedules. A communication or reporting line should be followed so that guards can report issues effectively and quickly to supervising officers. Crossing guards should also be included in safety discussions regarding their posts, as they are individuals who know the activity in these areas the best. The hiring, training, and placement of adult crossing guards is guided by New Jersey statutes and the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. NJSA 40A:9-154.1 states that the governing body or the chief executive or the chief administrative officer, as appropriate to the form of government of any municipality, may appoint adult crossing guards for terms not exceeding 1 year and revoke such appointments for cause and after proper hearing before the chief of police or other chief law enforcement officer of the municipality. The MUTCD states that high standards for selection of adult crossing guards are essential because they are responsible for the safety of and the efficient crossing of the street by school children within and in the immediate vicinity of school crosswalks. Adult crossing guards should at a minimum be in good physical condition, including sight, hearing, and ability to move and maneuver quickly in order to avoid danger from errant vehicles, have the ability to control a stop paddle effectively to provide approaching road users with a clear, fully directed view of the paddle stop message during the entire crossing movement, be able to communicate specific instructions clearly, firmly, and courteously, and be able to recognize potentially dangerous traffic situations and warn and manage students in sufficient time to avoid injury. Municipalities should have a policy in place related to the hiring, training, medical requirements, and posts for adult crossing guards. The policy should state that all department members and employees shall adhere to the provisions of the policy concerning crossing guards. A distinct chain of command should be established to ensure proper communication with the guards. If a third-party contractor is being utilized to provide adult crossing guard services, the municipality should consider having a written agreement indicating all the services that will be provided. All crossing guards shall be trained to properly perform their duties and responsibilities. It is the responsibility of the crossing guard's direct supervisor to ensure that crossing guards are trained in accordance with the department's policy. Annual training shall consist of a minimum of 2 hours of classroom instruction, including information on traffic control methods and the duties and responsibilities of adult crossing guards. New adult crossing guard training shall also include at least 20 hours in which the trainee shall be supervised by an experienced adult crossing guard or regular police officer. Annual crossing guard training should be conducted with all existing crossing guards prior to the new school year. A brief retraining or meeting may also be held when crossing guards are returning after winter break to remind them of safety issues related to the time of year. Supervisors that are responsible for overseeing crossing guards should utilize the Crossing Guard Job Safety Observation Report to assist with keeping crossing guards and pedestrians safe. At least annually, the supervisor assigned to oversee the crossing guards shall ensure that every post is reviewed to determine its continued need, suitability, and if any issues are identified that need to be addressed. The annual review of school crossing program and post forms should be utilized to assist. Adult crossing guards should be issued an approved reflective safety vest, a hat, breast and hat badges that bear an identification number and name of the municipality where they are employed, a stop paddle, and rain gear. All crossing guards are required to appropriately wear their issued reflective vest, hat, badges, and any other issued uniforms in accordance with their training. The stop paddle and other issued equipment must be utilized during the course of their duties in accordance with their training, and they should be advised who they should notify to replace worn or misplaced equipment. The Crossing Guard Resources tab under the Law Enforcement page of the New Jersey Mail website is a tremendous resource and has valuable information that can assist with helping manage adult crossing guards. For example, the Forms and Documents section provides a sample crossing guard job description, policy, medical requirements, JSO, and training agendas. There are videos that can be viewed for training newly appointed crossing guards as well as annual retraining, as well as training agendas to track training and an infographic depicting minimum equipment requirements. The New Jersey Mail website provides links to other resources, including the New Jersey Safe Routes to School and the New Jersey Department of Health Workplace Safety for Crossing Guards. Additional resources are available through the New Jersey Crossing Guard Training and Resources Program, supported by the New Jersey Department of Transportation and the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety, which can be accessed through the program website, www.njcrossingguards.org. This program offers a Train the Trainer course designed to equip supervisors with the tools and knowledge to provide consistent, high-quality training for crossing guards, helping them perform their duties safely and effectively. After completing the Train the Trainer program, officers gain access to training resources, including videos and PowerPoint presentations with training notes, which they can use to train their own crossing guards. Your J.A. Montgomery Consulting Law Enforcement Risk Control Consultants are an excellent resource and can provide guidance and direction. It can be very difficult to change the behaviors of people operating motor vehicles, but we can provide adult crossing guards with the tools to be aware of the dangers associated with their role and help reduce potential incidents and accidents. The position of
Okay. So I just want to mention also, there's a lot of resources that are discussed in that video. We do have an informational bulletin that is out there that includes links to all those resources that were discussed in the video. So maybe Brian or Ellie, if you could actually put the link for that bulletin in the chat tool so everyone has that, or we can send it to the group afterwards. But I'll take over for the rest of the presentation. My name is Matt Jenna. I work for J. Montgomery Consulting, along with Brian, Ellie, and Elena. Just wanted to talk about safety committee meetings. As always, we do like to get out to all of our members' safety committee meetings throughout the year, try to get to at least one. I know myself and Ellie have been to a couple so far, the first couple of months of the year. But please continue to invite us. I know a lot of our members just send us their schedule of their meetings in the beginning of the year for the rest of the year. That's awesome. That's great. Please continue to do that. For those that have not invited us to your committee meetings, please just let us know so we can put it on our calendar so we can make ourselves available. For our new members, if you do not have a safety committee already, please let myself or Ellie know, and we'd be happy to come out. I've done for some of the new members in the past, like a quick 20-30 minute presentation on the importance of the safety committee meetings, going into further depth than I'm going in now, and who to include in those meetings and so on and so forth as kind of your kickoff meeting to go forward. So please let us know. For those that don't have a safety committee and want to start one, we'd be happy to help. Looking at the safety incentive program for 2025, nothing has changed from the past couple of years, but establishing that safety committee and having those meetings, attending our quarterly executive safety committee meetings that we're doing today, and the meetings that Brian had posted on the screen a few minutes ago. Establishing that self-inspection program within the municipality. So looking at those facilities on a regular basis, using the checklists that are provided by the JIF. We did mention during that video with the crossing guards that there are inspection sheets that can be used for job safety observations as well. And that's one of our components of the program here as well, component number 5. Component number 4, establishing former hazard assessment program. Looking at the primary, those hazardous operations that we have in our typical municipalities, public works, parks and rec, and utility departments. Again, establishing job site observation programs, and you can use those forms to document those types of things. We're looking at what are the hazards? Are we addressing all of the hazards through engineering controls, PPE, administrative controls? Are there things that need to be improved upon, or are we doing everything right? And then documenting that. Attendance of managers, supervisors, employees at educational seminars presented on behalf of the JIF or the MEL. Safety videos and training seminars for employees, and then performing your annual motor vehicle record checks using the New Jersey CAIR system, those vehicle abstracts, to ensure that all employees that are driving on municipal business do have a valid driver's license. So again, nothing has changed there, but for our new members, just to make you aware of what the components of that program are and documenting your efforts throughout the year so that it can be reported to the JIF. Looking at some of the lost time information over the past 5 years from 2019 to 2024, one of the things that I'll mention as we start to look at this, keep in mind that this past 5 years does include 2020 and 2021, where we did see a lot of COVID claims and some things were different than a typical year because of what was going on during those years. So here, looking at a pie chart of the departments where these types of workers' comp claims are coming from, you can see over that 5-year period, 50% of them are coming from the police department. And then a lot of these different departments that we see here in a typical municipality are going to fall under public works. So street cleaning and maintenance, garbage removal, parks department, those sorts of things, which oftentimes buildings department are grouped into public works. So our biggest departments where we're seeing these types of incidents would definitely be police and public works. You can see there's a 4% paid fire department. Again, not all of our members have career fire departments, and not all of our members are involved in garbage removal, curbside garbage removal. So that is 3%, which is a significant amount given that not all of our members are involved in those activities. But those are definitely where we see a lot of these types of hazards, where we see a lot of these claims. Again, just splitting up each department over the past 5 years, 2019 through 2024, looking at police department, street cleaning, parks, and other classified municipal employees. The positive thing that we're seeing here is that the size of the workers' compensation claims that are paid out has decreased significantly over the last 5 years, and this year you can see really much smaller numbers than we've seen in the past. Just looking at some additional, again, departments here, our career fire departments, volunteer fire departments, garbage removal activities, and professional and clerical activities. Again, those numbers trending downward overall over the last 5 years.
Hey, Matt, can you go back to the police department slide? I
Yes,
just want to make a comment on that. When you
Sure.
see 2023 fund year and you see that $2.2 million, 1.55 of that is actually made up of only 7 claims. And there's actually 96 that represent the 2.2. So it tells us that there's obviously a lot of severity sitting there.
Mhm.
And the police, they make up 70% of all the claims for that year in the comp world, and 42% of all the claims for the 2023 year. So that when you see that spike and that there's 7 claims kind of leading those losses, it tells us that there's obviously severity hitting in that specific department in that year. So we kind of try to continually drill down when we see numbers, what's the reasoning, what's the source, is it frequency, is it severity? And then go into cause of loss and, what was actually going on that may have caused those numbers to be as high as they are.
So like you said, there was 7 very large, severe claims in the police departments in 2023. So
And Matt, just a quick question. Are we seeing that the number of claims is also trending similar to the cost of claims?
yeah, the severity and the number,
They trend pretty
Or-
much along the same?
yeah,
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, there's actually a slide later on that'll show you.
yeah, we'll look at that. We looked at this, and then again, just some additional departments here: building departments, sewage departments, municipal, township, county, state, and then unspecified. So again, you can see with sewage, not every one of our members has sewage operations. So you get 1 or 2 large claims like you see that in 2019 there. Then that really trends those numbers up. Now looking by type of injury, again, keeping in mind that the COVID years are in this data, you can see nearly a quarter of the types of claims here were COVID related claims. And then the vast majority of the remaining are contusions, sprains and strains, and lacerations. Again, types of claims that are consistent with the departments that we're seeing them in: police department, public works, road, streets, water, sewer, those types of things. I will just note that there is heat is on there as well. That is something that POSHA and OSHA are really focusing on and have started focusing on since last summer. So just something to keep in mind for this upcoming summer with the heat related injury and exposures, having a plan for that with your employees on those really, really hot, humid days that we get in August. There was claims related to that over the last 5 years.
Matt, can I just add one comment with the
Sure.
strains and sprains? Because we follow the national coding for workers' compensation claims, strains and sprains isn't just a neck sprain and they sprain their knee. It also denotes tears. So if somebody has a rotator cuff tear, that
Mhm.
will be in there. I didn't want you to think $8.6 million was spent on sprained body parts.
Yep. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah. And those, as we all know, those shoulder injuries and knee injuries can be expensive workers' comp claims. So thank you for clarifying that.
Hey, Matt, just on the heat too, I dropped the bulletin in there, and we also have a model policy available and online training because it's in the pipeline that PIOSH might be passing a standard. So everyone will need to have that in place at some point in the near future. And once that becomes a regulation, we will let everybody know. But if you want to be proactive and get everything in place before then, we have all the resources available. Just let us know if you need help finding them.
Thank you.
Barbara, are you seeing any activity in terms of PTSD? And if so, where would that be in this information?
No, actually, and that came up at a meeting last week, but no, I don't think we've really, I don't know if Kathy Kassane has anything to add to it, but no, I have not seen anything at least even coded like that. I mean, when we put these slides together, we kind of really try to drill down and break things down, but no, I have not seen that.
And Kathy,
Typically, if you see a PTSD claim, it'll be from the police department where they either show up to an accident scene where there was a gruesome injury or a fatality, or they were involved in a police shooting. But if they're treating for other components, maybe they were involved in a brawl with a suspect and their weapon went off or something like that, they may be treating for a shoulder injury and PTSD. We code for the primary, which is usually the injured part of the body, and then with PTSD. But for this GIF, it hasn't been a huge concern so far.
Kathy, where are back injuries reflected? Are they in the sprain and strain slice of the pie here?
Yes, they could be there because if they have disc herniations or things, they could be in there. Predominantly, that's the coding where it would take place.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. So yeah, I think this gives us a good idea of not only the type, but the cost associated with these types of workers' comp issues by seeing the dollar amount associated with them as well. So here again, looking at the total incurred, generally trending downward over the past 5 years related to our workers' comp claims.
And Kathy, this is Kathleen, this is where you'll see the claim counts.
Yep, I see it. Thank you.
Again, average cost per claim, which we were touching on before, that we're seeing a general decline in the cost per claim on average. And then here you can see the number of claims, indemnity versus medical only. So for 2024, we can see the number of indemnity claims versus medical only and the cost associated with those as compared to the last 5 years. Again, trending down. Okay, as we're talking about claims, another thing that is important to keep in mind when you do have a workplace injury is not only does it need to be reported for insurance purposes, but it also needs to be recorded and possibly reported to PIOSH, depending on the nature of the claim. So throughout the year, you should be including any work-related injuries and illnesses in your 300 form. This form is very similar to the federal OSHA form. It's basically the same form, just says New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development on the top. But that is the 300 form where you're including the employee's name, job title, date of the injury, where it occurred, description of the injury, and then, was there a job transfer? Was there days away from work? Was there a fatality? And so on and so forth. In addition to the 300 form, you also have your 300A form, which is the summary, which does not include anyone's names because that gets posted in a public location from February 1st through April 30th of each year with the data from the prior year. So we'll talk about those deadlines, important deadline dates, the overview of PIOSH recording and reporting, regulations and resources, recording of occupational injuries, and how do we define work-related injuries as it's defined by PIOSH for their purposes. And then we'll go over the decision-making flow chart that PIOSH provides to us as far as if it needs to be recorded or reported, and if it does need to be reported, is it reported within 8 hours or is it reported within 24 hours to them? So again, they give you until February 1st to tabulate that log, that annual 300 log with all the information in there of all your injuries that you've incurred over the year. And then you have to transfer that information to the 300A summary log, and that needs to be posted from February 1st to April 30th of each year in an area where employees are going to see it. So usually a break room or a bulletin board that you have all that other regulatory posters on, it needs to be posted there. This
So
has been
Matt, a
some-
quick question on that. So
Yeah.
it has to be posted for employees, correct? It doesn't have to be posted for the general public.
Correct. Yeah. So you don't need to necessarily put it like in the opening of your municipal building where residents are coming in.
Okay,
But if
just
you
wanna
have
make
like
sure.
a kitchen or break room area where employees all gather and you have, your all your regulatory posters, that's usually the area that's going to go.
Okay, cool. Thank
So
you.
good question.
And one of the things to remember as well is, Qualling sends basically a snapshot of what they think should be on the report and what they have in their system. And as always, you should always, double check it. Don't just, transfer to the other form and slap it on the wall, but take a look at it, but it'll give you a guideline as to what you should probably be reporting.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara. That and Kathy and Quallings have helped us out significantly with. This is something that PIOSH has been enforcing when they go out on site, because they'll walk in and they can see if it's posted or not, or if you have one from 2018 there and nothing else. So in a pinch, Quallings has been able to put those together and provide those to our members, who are then able to show PIOSH that it has been posted and that they have that information. One of the things that I think is later on in the slides here that I'll just mention also is that PIOSH likes to see them separated by department. So you should have one for administrative employees, like in your municipal building. There should be one for police department. There should be one for the fire department. There should be one for public works. If your water and sewer department are separate from public works, there should be one for them versus your street department. So that's how they have been telling everyone that they want it, and they've been enforcing that through issuing citations.
And Matt, just to clarify, when we provide the OSHA reports, we do separate them by department. But for us, the department, there could be 5 different departments that are comprised under Public Works.
Mhm.
So you will get 5 separate summaries from us by those individual departments.
Great, thank you.
And Matt, just also when posting the summaries, I've seen sometimes where people post the logs. You don't want to do that because there's people's names on there. Also, you have to take it down after April 30th. I've seen people get cited for having it posted up. I've also seen in numerous locations, just like a flip book of the last 10 years of summaries, just pinned on top of each other. So April or February 1st, April 30th, and then take the summary down.
And that's just posted. That's not something that's necessarily being provided to PIOSH unless they're out there on site and they're looking for it. Now, federal OSHA is in the process, not to confuse everyone, of creating a database where private employers are going to need to be sending this data to federal OSHA annually. PIOSH has told us that there may be plans for that in the future, but as of right now, there's nothing in writing that they've adopted that from federal OSHA. So as of right now, you're just going to post that, like Brian said, between those dates, and then on April 30th, you'll take it down and file it away somewhere if it needs to be reviewed from a PIOSH inspection. Serious injuries do need to be reported directly to PIOSH, again, within either 8 hours or 24 hours, depending on if it's a fatality or a serious injury, such as loss of a limb, loss of eyesight, those sorts of things. But in cases where that's not the situation, you're just recording it and you're not necessarily calling PIOSH to give them this information. I have had incidents where people had a serious injury that did need to be reported to PIOSH within a specific time frame, and they did not do that. And it was ultimately reported either by the responding police or emergency services, or in the emergency room, it was reported. And then Pioche will basically sit around and wait for you to call them. And if you're late, now they're going to cite you for not calling within the allotted required time period. So again, just looking at a breakdown of what's required for the recording, the two forms, the 300 and then the annual summary, which is the 300A. The 300 lists all the work-related injuries and illnesses. It's maintained throughout the year, and you have to make the entries within 7 days of a notification, and you have to keep at least 5 years of the logs on site available to be inspected by Pioche if they do come on site. The summary, again, is just summarizing that information. It doesn't have any names or specifics on there to protect those workers, and it's posted between February 1st and April 30th, and then you're removing them and filing them away on April 30th. And again, you have to maintain those logs in your facilities. We talked about separating for each department as Pioche wants it that way. And now we get into what is considered work-related injury. Okay, again, these are the definitions that are given to us by Pioche. Any event or exposure in the work environment causing or contributing to a condition or significantly aggravating a pre-existing injury or illness. They presume if it occurred in the workplace that it's going to be as a result of your work environment, but there are exceptions per an OSHA standard depending on certain situations, like if you were on your way to work, not on your way to work, and so on and so forth. What would be recordable? A death or a loss of consciousness. If there's days away from work or restricted work activity like a job transfer or light duty, or any medical treatment beyond first aid, would require you to record that injury on the OSHA 300 log. Okay. Again, just here showing the presumption that it is work-related if it's occurring in the workplace. If you have an injury, and this happens all the time, I do get calls from people, something happened and they call me and say, what do I need to do as far as recording or reporting? Please don't hesitate to call us, okay? There are little nuances with these types of events, depending on what, again, is it beyond first aid? Very specific definitions there. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us and call us. And if you over-report, I mean, if you call Pioche and say, hey, I want to report an incident, they may tell you on the phone, hey, this is not, you don't need to report this to us, but you do need to record it. So there's not a problem there either. Again, specific types of conditions that would also need to be recorded. Needle stick injuries. So, you know, cleaning up in the park and they find a used needle and accidentally get stuck with it. Okay, that would be something that does need to be recorded. Medical removal cases, tuberculosis infections, and hearing loss. If you do annual audiograms for your employees that are exposed to noise over certain levels, and the testing company tells you that they've had a standard threshold shift in the audiogram, then that from that person's previous reports, then that would need to be recorded as well. Again, death or loss of consciousness, days away from work, restricted work activities, job transfer, and medical treatment beyond first aid all need to be recorded. Separate from recording for Pioche, there's also reporting requirements for occupational injuries. Any fatality in the workplace must be reported within 8 hours of occurrence. So they have a 24-hour hotline. You can leave a message if nobody answers. Okay, very important that you do that. And then other work-related injuries that need to be reported within 24 hours, hospitalizations, amputations, or loss of an eye. Okay, generally, if someone's going to an urgent care place or they're going to the emergency room and they're just rendering first aid and sending them on their way, they would not count that as a hospitalization. If the person is rendered treatment further than first aid or admitted to the hospital, that would be a hospitalization. If there's an amputation or loss of an eye, again, you have 24 hours to give them a call and report it to them. And there's their phone numbers and fax lines. And then this is a decision tree flow chart that is directly from Pioche. So you have a worker that's injured or falls ill. Okay, is it work related? Yes. If it was fatal, then you're contacting them within 8 hours. If it was not fatal, were they admitted to the hospital within 24 hours of the incident, then you're gonna report it. If there wasn't, but there was an amputation within 24 hours, then you're gonna report it. If there wasn't an amputation, or they weren't admitted to the hospital, but there was a loss of eyes within 24 hours, I would think if you did lose an eye that you would be admitted to the hospital, but then you're gonna report that to them again within 24 hours. If none of that applies, then there's no notification requirement. But again, it may still need to be recorded, just not reported. Okay. Important information to provide to them when you do call: your agency name, location, time, type of injury, or fatality. Was it a fatality or a reportable injury? How many employees were involved, the names of the employees involved, brief description of the incident, and then a contact person and a phone number. Okay. Oftentimes, if you do have a reportable injury, you're going to see PIOSH later on that week. They're going to come out and want to do an investigation and see what's going on. Okay. So we covered a good amount of information there. I think Brian put a lot of the resources that we discussed in the chat with links there, so you can access those and share those with people in your agencies that maybe weren't on today's Zoom meeting, but may benefit from that information. So please share that with them. Does anyone have any other questions before we wrap up?
I
our
do.
session?
Matt, if there is a serious injury at a work site or at a work location, are we able to contact you and ask you to come out and do a investigation as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that.
Well, if PIOSH is involved, we typically like PIOSH to come out first. We don't want to impede with their investigation.
Right, I understand.
Depending on the inspector that comes out, some don't mind if we're there and others do. But if it's a reportable injury, definitely go with them first. If it was
Okay.
something serious that wasn't reportable, you can certainly call us and we can do an accident review.
Okay.
On site or with the career department.
Yeah, and we can help Marlena also with responding. So like if PIOSH says you need to do X, Y, and Z, sometimes it's not exactly very clear as far as what you guys need to do. And we've definitely sat down with our members in the past and said, here's exactly the plan that you need to take. Here's the actions that you need to take, and then we'll help you guys get to where you need to be with that. So
Yeah, I'm realizing more and more what a resource the safety group is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. Anybody else?
All right, guys, thank you so much.
right, thank you.
That was excellent, good information, good presentation. All right. Safety Awareness Program 2025-2024 results. I think that was in everybody's packet.
Yes, you have the 2024 Safety Awareness Program as of December 31st by category and the points earned by member. You also then have the 2024 Safety Awareness Program results and the total dollars earned by member. You have until March 31st of 2026 to voucher the money. And again, we like the money to be used towards a safety effort in your entity, whether it be, you have a health fair, you have some recognition of your safety committee, and not to purchase items that you should be buying for general safety, reasons anyway. So if anybody has any questions on that, let me know. We also have the 2025 Safety Awareness Program budget. These are the dollars that you can earn if you assumed everybody had 100%, and that far right column would be what every member would earn towards the Safety Awareness Program. As you can tell from the 2024 results, that does not happen. And what we do is we expend the full budget. So everybody gets everything, based on their earned points up to 100. And then we reallocate any monies that were not used by those that did not reach 100% and reallocate it to everybody who did earn based on their total points. That's where if you have extra credit, you get the benefit of additional money. What's of interest is if you look at the additional dollars earned, you'll see that the per point value is $15.89. As compared to last year, it was in the $12 range. So what that is saying is that as a group, we're not earning as many points as we did. And when you go over and you go back, there has been somewhat of a decrease. So what I'm going to suggest is maybe we pull together the safety committee, subcommittee, and kind of go over and see if there's any changes that anybody would like to implement for the 2026 year. 2025 will stand as is, but we may want to, I don't know, change some categories, add a category, take a category away, whatever the pleasure of the group is. So we'll work on doing that with, you know, some of the safety reps as well as a few executive committee members. That's all I have there.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Okay, executive committee business, approval of the general fund and executive committee meeting minutes of January 8th and executive committee urgent meeting minutes of December 31st. Any questions or comments? Can I get a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Anthony?
Anthony, thank you.
As amended, correct?
Correct.
Yes,
You have it, yeah.
I think the
Your
amended,
handouts,
version.
and they're actually the finals.
Okay.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then the approval of the executive committee closed meeting minutes of Jan 8 and executive committee closed urgent meeting minutes of December 31st. Any questions or comments? May I get a motion?
Robbinsville.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's a pretty weak all in favor.
Barbara, can we have some individuals sign off because?
Oh, sure.
Yes, if you're a safety rep, you can disengage at any time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Marlena. Thanks, folks. Okay, next is reports. Chairperson's report. I have nothing this morning. Mel delegates, Joy, anything for us? Joy? She may have stepped away. Joy Tazi?
The
Okay.
Mel hasn't had a meeting since we met last, so
Okay, so we'll skip Mel and Cyber for now. Secretary's report, Marlena?
No report.
Thank you. Fund commissioners reports, any reports from our fund commissioners? Oh, there's Joy.
Sorry about that.
No
I got
worries,
pulled away
no
for a
worries.
minute.
No worries.
I just
Go ahead.
wanted to mention that Cyber and Mel did not have meetings since we last met. Cyber's later this month and Mel is in March. We've had some operations committee meetings, but nothing to report. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, attorney's report.
Morning, everybody. On behalf of the fund, we continue to monitor pending legislation that might impact the joint insurance fund and or the municipalities in a significant way. The state has just entered into their annual budget process. And that usually what that means is that there's not a lot of legislative activity until the budget is actually adopted, which would happen at as you all know, at the end of June. But we monitor that legislation in case anything important comes up. We also monitor significant case law that impacts joint insurance funds and or municipalities and bring that to your attention. With regard to, there's a couple of cases that have come up. One is the Burlington Joint Insurance Fund versus Smith. That's a subrogation matter where an employee of the Burlington, one of the Burlington JIF members was injured because a defendant started a fire in their home and the first responders came and put out the fire, rescued the individual. And in the process, someone was injured. So like we would do, the Burlington Joint Insurance Fund filed a lawsuit against the individual that started the fire. Now the case did not the ruling in the case, which was by the appellate division in February, did not involve the actual merits. It involved whether or not the defendant had gotten proper notice of an arbitration proceeding. But however, we will, and the court ruled that there was proper notice, and so that the case could proceed. We will continue to monitor the case to see what might happen. The reason is because we do file on a regular basis subrogation matters on behalf of the fund, seeking reimbursement of costs that you, the members and or the fund, have incurred due to injuries to your employees that was caused by the negligence or bad intent of another individual. So we'll continue to watch that. There was another case, Joseph versus the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. This is a case where it was involved negligent design, an allegation of negligent design, as well as negligent roadway maintenance. Unfortunately, a person had a significant issue while driving on the road and flew off the side of the road, hitting something, and actually tragically passed away. The estate brought a claim against the Turnpike Authority, and the Turnpike Authority defended, saying that there was design immunity. It was an area where there was wetlands, and so they didn't put a guardrail right there because of the wetlands. And the court upheld that, saying yes, the Turnpike Authority was immune from the claim of negligent design of the roadway. So it highlights the importance of keeping adequate records of designs of roadways in order to protect yourself if there's this type of a suit. However, the court also held that the claim based on negligent maintenance of the roadway could proceed, that there wasn't immunity for that, but that the town, there would be a defense, and the town would have to show records, or in this case, it wasn't the town, it was the state, would have to show records of proper maintenance of the Garden State Parkway. So this again shows the importance of keeping adequate records of maintenance, so that if there's an injury and there's a lawsuit, the town has the requisite documentation to defend itself properly. We'll have several matters to discuss in closed session. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, treasurer's report. Is John?
John cannot be with us today. You have the bill list for all fund years totaling $2,712,496.11. You have the treasurer's report showing a balance of just under $25 million, and the investment status life to date of $19,319,316.98.
Okay, and do we need a motion for that to approve the bill list?
To approve the bill list, yes. Yes.
Okay, may I get a motion to approve the bill list?
So moved.
Marlena, thank you. Second?
Princeton.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Okay. Barbara, administrator's report.
Our report is in the agenda package. You have the financial fast track as of 12/31 unaudited. The unaudited is showing a surplus of just over $9.7 million for all fund years. We are in the middle of the 2024 audit, and the plan is that the audit will be presented at the end of April, which is our next meeting. So we're working with the auditors. They'll be here in, the next couple of weeks to do their picks and look at everything. The 2025 Mel bulletins are on the website. These are documents that you can use for just general information, as well as they kind of act as the coverage docs until those are done, and those are prepped to be done by the end of the second quarter, as is typical by the time we get everybody's policies in. And you have the regulatory checklist, and that's all I have until new business.
Okay. All right, Qualings, managed care report.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Lisa.
The managed care report is in the agenda. Year to date, we've processed 232 medical bills, which totaled $380,642 in provider charges. Qualcare was able to reduce payments to $136,451, delivering a savings of $244,191 or 64% savings. And Qualcare's rates are 55% lower than usual and customary rates for the same provider charges. We also have maintained 98% network utilization, and we received 36 injury reports that required medical treatment. The next report in the agenda is the savings by fund year. And it looks, per this report, in February, the majority of our bills were from the previous year, 2024, and this year, 2025. So that's good. We are processing current bills right now, and the older claim bills are dwindling out. Unless there's any questions, that's all that I have for this morning.
Excellent. Any questions for Lisa? Okay. All right, any old business?
No.
New business?
Yes, new business, we have, resolution 2025.14, authorizing a refund, return of surplus based on the December 31st, 2023 audit. We have suggested that we do the same amount that we've done for the last 2 prior years of $600,000. One of the things that we take into consideration, obviously, is the financial surplus overall, as well as we look at our losses, we look at our investment income that's been earned. And when we choose the number, we try to pick a number that provides surplus back for all members, keeping in mind that some membership changes. Some people came in a little bit later than others. Some have been around since 1987, which is the date of inception. The 600,000 is a comfortable number, and you'll see if you look at the Excel landscape sheet, you'll see that by fund year and by member what that number is. We have the documentation. If this is approved, what we will do is put the packet together for the department and DCA. They work on a 30-day deemer provision, meaning if we don't hear from them within 30 days, it's deemed approved. If they have any questions or concerns, they can ask within that 30 days. So then once we get approval or the deemer runs, if any, we will go out to each member individually and ask if you would like it to be applied to your installment billing or if you would like a check. As per the regs, we have to offer both options.
Okay, excellent. So for the fund commissioners, did everyone have an opportunity to review that? Any questions? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025.14, resolution authorizing funds for Mid-Jersey Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, fund years 96 through 2000, 2004 through 2006, 2009, 11, 12, and then 2014 through 2020. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Montgomery.
Thank you, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, public comment, portion of the meeting. Any members of the public wishing to be heard, please state your name, municipality of residence, place of employment. If you're speaking on behalf of an organization or a group, please identify that group or organization. Public comment is limited to 1 opportunity to speak and 3 minutes in duration. Do we have anyone from the public wishing to be heard?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Charlie Cradaville. I live in New Brunswick. I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today, a community news outlet covering Central Jersey. And we are recording and broadcasting today's meeting of your board live as a public service for folks who couldn't be here or want to review it later. And I did want to ask about an agenda item. I see Roman numeral 7A and B, reference to the December 31st meeting. It's referred to as an urgent meeting in the agenda, and I just wanted to ask, what is meant by the term urgent meeting?
Julie, as the fund's attorney, do you want to explain that?
Yes, due to the, good morning, Mr. Cradaville. Due to the timing of the interest in joining the fund, which would be effective January 1 of this year, 2025, and the ending of their membership in another joint insurance fund, that it was considered an urgent matter because obviously it's important that those towns have adequate insurance coverage going forward, and therefore it was an urgent matter.
Got it. And so, just to clarify, you mean by urgent that there was an affirmative vote of 3/4 of the members present to be able to hold a meeting without adequate notice? Is that fair to say?
I don't want to go into all the details with you right now because I don't have them all available to me. So if you want to send, you have my email address, send me your questions and we can respond.
Okay. And I am going to presume that the minutes were approved and they'll be posted swiftly. So maybe I could reach out if I have questions after they're posted. Do you know if they'll be posted today?
I don't know the date that will happen, but as I said, you and I can follow up together so that you have the information.
Okay, good enough. I will reach out and get a copy of those minutes. And if I have further questions, I'll communicate with you offline. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wishing to be heard? Seeing no further hands. And again, Julie, I don't believe I need to take a motion, right, to close?
Correct.
Right, okay. In that case, public comment is closed. Closed session, so we are entering closed session. Barbara, you want to work your magic there?
Yeah, do you want to get a motion to go in?
Oh, motion to enter closed session. Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
Fairhaven.
Thank you, Fairhaven. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, if you're not a fund commissioner, we are going into closed session. We should probably clarify why. We're going into closed session for claims and a regulatory question that requires the advice of counsel. Okay. Why do I not have the option? I have to put Charlie in the room. It's not working.
Did Matt make you host again?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe that's it.
I didn't. Sorry, Barbara.
That's it, yeah. He's got to turn over the host back to you.
Okay, you should have it now, Barbara.
Okay, are we back in open successfully?
I don't see him. I let him back in, but I don't.
He's on my screen.
Is he in here? I don't.
Yeah,
Helen, are
he's
you with
on
us?
the screen, but he's muted.
Oh, okay, I see him. I went too fast through the.
Okay,
He's at
so
the-
Okay, all right, we're back in open.
we're back in open. I need a motion, for the actions taken in closed section, specifically the authorization to pay claims.
Fred Stim.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
And I believe that's it, correct? Anything else?
No, just adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Prince, Princeton second.
Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. 11:06 a.m. is our adjournment time. Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. We will see you next time.